Hi everybody, and welcome to another Campfire Cuisine. It's been a little while since I've put something together, but I wanted to put out a video about tinfoil dinners again, a kind of sequel to the first one, because today I'm going to work on doing something that is more of a sweet treat in a tinfoil dinner versus a savory, which is what we did the last time. And you'll notice I'm also not wearing my Scout uniform today, but I am wearing one of the new t-shirts our Scout group had done as a promotion of our group as well. We asked some of our youth if they were interested in them. I also have a hooded sweater like this, but I thought I would show it off today in this video instead of wearing my typical red polo that I wear when I am cooking for Scouting in the kitchen. So our Scout group has a challenge coming up for outdoor cooking that they chose, and their methods were it has to be a tinfoil dinner, it has to be cooked over a fire, and it could be sweet or savory is what they chose, because I got kids that want to have more of a dinner and some kids who just like dessert. All right, so I'm going to walk you through the steps to make, I'm going to make an individual apple crisp wrapped in tinfoil, and we're going to cook that and see how that goes. Okay, so the first part that I need to do first is obviously I have my nice clean apple here. This is an ambrosia apple because that is the favorite apple of the house, so that's kind of what I've got on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. And actually everything I chose today is because it's things I had on hand. And that's the idea of the cooking challenge, is that you guys are picking things that you have in your home and not necessarily worried about having to go to the store and buying special fancy ingredients. I'm also going to be just using simple tools like my small little paring knife today instead of fancy equipment, okay? So I'm going to use my paring knife to very carefully skin my apple. Take all of that off, because the idea too is if we are cooking in a tinfoil dinner, likely we are in a camping setting, and when we camp we tend to be minimalists. We don't necessarily bring an apple core or slicer like that as well. Okay, so I'm just going to take off as much as I want. That looks pretty good to me, and I have my little compost bowl here. I'm going to throw everything in, and I'm going to show you a trick for cutting my apples. I came into this not that long ago, and it seems to be like the quickest way to cut an apple. It's just cutting right along the sides of the core. Instead of, my mom always used to quarter an apple and then she would painfully cut out the core part. But this just cuts it, and then I'm just left with my core as this nice little tiny rectangle square, and that'll go in my little compost bin. Okay, now I am going to use my knife just to slice up my apples, and I'm going to throw them in this bin, because this bowl is going to be what I use to mix everything together. Alright, now I'm really just throwing this together. I'm not following a recipe at all. That's sometimes just how I roll. And also because I don't eat wheat or use flour in any of my cooking or baking, unless it's a gluten-free substitute or a rice flour. I kind of have had to make up some of these kinds of traditional things we used to eat all the time into a more gluten-free variety for my family, and moving without flour and stuff. Grab a big spoon. So here I have some quick oats for us. I have some brown sugar I like. I have a lot of butter, and I also have my cinnamon. So I'm actually just gonna dump all that in, because that sounds like a decent amount. That was probably almost a quarter cup of oats, and this is probably about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And you know what? I want a really sweet apple crisp too. I like that. And I'm not gonna take all the butter though. I'm probably gonna look at taking close to 2 tablespoons as well, because that was a really large apple, and all of this butter is going to be what cooks up. So I'm just going to try and break this butter up on the side. Again, we're trying to be mindful in how many bowls and products we're using, so we don't have as many dishes. When you're camping, you may not have a lot of that. available. I'm just gonna try and toss it so that the apples all get kind of covered with a little bit of sugar and some of that oats, and that butter kind of drops to the bottom of my bowl. Okay, I'm gonna put the cinnamon on last, because now I'm going to pull out my tin foil. And I have to say, I do like the Alcan tin foil the best. Not a sponsor yet, but you know, it is sturdy and durable. And when you're cooking a tin foil dinner in a campfire, in dirt, like around dirt and things like that, you want your tin foil dinner to last in the fire and the travel from the fire to your plate. So you don't want it kind of falling apart. I put my stuff over there and turn it. I like shiny side in, because then I feel like it reflects more that way. So now I'm going to dump all of my apples right onto my thing, and I can see all these giant butter chunks that did not move around but lumped all together. I'm just going to use my fingers. They are clean. I did wash my hands off video before I did this, which is always a good health tip, or is like the golden rule when cooking: washing your hands before you start touching food. So, scrape all of that deliciousness out. Now I'm going to take my cinnamon, and I'm going to sprinkle my cinnamon on top. There's going to be a lot of cinnamon in this. That's okay. I really like cinnamon. Put that over there, and I am going to quickly wash my hands before I carry on, because I've got little bits of butter and sugar before I wrap this up. Okay, my hands are washed, so now I'm going to take my tinfoil dinner. And it's always like a bed roll. Everything meets up in the middle. Roll it down the center first, and then I roll it up on each end. This. And then I roll it up like this. And then I always double wrap it, and I like to flip it upside down, so that way it is all kind of locked in, crisscrossing different ways. That's all nice and tight down. Okay. All right, so that is all nice and packed. And so I'm going to actually use my toaster oven to cook this up, but it would be very similar to a fire where you have to watch the heat and things. Usual apple crisp takes about an hour almost. I like to slow cook it, then it kind of like makes like a caramelly sauce almost versus a just kind of sauce. Oh. Anyways, but yes, so I'm going to take the time now to throw this into my toaster oven, and when it is all done, I will open it up and we will check it out and see how well that worked as our sweet option to a tinfoil dinner. All right, thank you. Stay tuned. Okay, welcome back. We have cooked our, what would be our tinfoil apple crisp, and now I'm going to see just how well it is. I did let it sit for a little bit to cool off, just so that it's much easier for me to handle the tinfoil. Oh, I can feel it. It is a soggy second layer for sure. So lots of buttery juices have leaked around. I also, while it was cooking, I made sure to flip it as well. You might want to consider that as part of a tip. Oh, okay, so that looks so good. Okay, I'm gonna try and find a way to get this around my plate so that I can lift it up and show you. Like, does that not look so good? I really wish I hadn't eaten all the ice cream the other day so that I would have something to add to this. It smells amazing, just like apple crisp. It's not really, looks like it's not really sticking to the tinfoil at all, which is a good thing, but is also something that might vary too, depending on if you're cooking it over a fire versus, you know, your toaster oven or your stove or something like that. Anyways, I'm gonna do what I usually do. This is a big old try and see what it is like and how maybe it compares to a homemade apple crisp. It's just as good. And not measuring the ingredients sure worked out in my favor, I think. It tastes delicious. There's lots of cinnamon, lots of sweet flavor, and the oats and everything in here worked at absorbing up all that butter too. It is definitely a winner. So, on an easy way to have something sweet with you in your tinfoil conquests over the campfire. I hope that you guys have enjoyed checking out something new and different maybe for a tinfoil dinner style that you have not seen or tried or heard of before maybe. We all just got to keep working and trying to expand our ideas and how can I make that into something I would eat over the campfire. And there was not really any dishes that need to be scrubbed up after this. So anyways, I'll find a way to link in the video that I did on the other tinfoil dinner that I had. I'm not good at the whole like putting a video over here or maybe over here or something like that, but we'll see what I can come up with, and there'll for sure be a link in the description to that video as well. As always, please like and subscribe on my Scouter Girl Guide style videos that I'm posting out. Share them with your scouting groups, share them with your Girl Guide groups, share them with your neighbors. You know, pass it along. Maybe everybody's kind of tired of cooking the way they have been and needs something different. Anyways, thanks everybody. Stay safe out there and we'll see you soon. Bye.